What is happening with the real estate market right now? I've got some opinions, and I think that they're a little bit different than some of those of my colleagues. No disrespect, no hate, nothing but love for mortgage brokers and other realtors out there. I just wanted to address it because I've had calls from people who are lovingly loyal to their realtors, which I have nothing but respect for, but they're calling me a little bit concerned because some of them have been feeling some pressure from their brokers saying,
hey, now is actually like buy right now because prices are about to go up again, it's gonna go crazy.
And I completely disagree. Here's why I disagree. When you look at the market over time, and we just shot a market stats video, which you guys can check out for sure, but if you look at the market over time, what you'll see is the real estate market in Canada is very nice, slow, gradual growth. Then there was this thing called COVID, this global pandemic, March 2020, Friday the 13th, I'll never forget that day. When we announced that it was a pandemic, what happened was the market dropped in April, and then May, June, it shot up like crazy, and we went on a roller coaster ride for the next 2 years pretty much, all the way until February 2020, when the market reached its peak. It dropped as much as 30% all the way to today. And now what we're talking about is, where do we go from here? So the idea that the market's just gonna shoot back up, here's a couple reasons for you today. I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why I don't think it'll shoot back up. Number 1, interest rates. Interest rates have changed. And because interest rates have changed, I believe that prices will continue to remain quite a bit lower for the next little while. The second thing is, I don't think interest rates are going anywhere because inflation is way up. So in case you didn't know, inflation reached a little bit over 8%. And the Bank of Canada made a big decision. We are going to raise interest rates to combat this runaway inflation. And they raised interest rates an incredible 16 times higher than they had been, all the way to 4.5% as of the middle of January. Now, the reason that's important for you to know is that at the end of the day, people can't afford what they could afford before. They're not just gonna start bidding on houses like crazy before because money was free to borrow. You could run out and just borrow tons of money at famously, historically low interest rates, where now interest rates are back to kind of what they were before, much more normal numbers. And I anticipate our interest rates will remain kind of in this ballpark for quite a while. That changes people's affordability. That puts us back to kind of pre-pandemic levels of growth, which again, were very stable. And then people will say,
well, Jake, we have a housing shortage. We have a supply crisis.
Now, while that's true, we didn't see the market going crazy 2015, 16, 17, 18. We didn't see it go crazy until we created a bunch of stimulus, we gave everybody money, and we made it famously historically cheap to lower the ability for you to borrow money. That leads me to my final point here. We're heading into a time in the market which every single year, like clockwork, the supply of the market goes way up. The number of houses for sale goes up. Now, here's a fun fact. You can throw this out at a party, you can chat with your friends and tell them, just say, when do you think the fewest homes are for sale every year? Every single year, the fewest number of homes for sale are in, you guessed it, December, okay? We have 2 weeks that are right off. Do you know though, when the most number of homes get listed on the market for sale? It is, without fail, May of every single year, with the exception of like 2 or 3 years in the last 15 where it was either April or June. The only year that it was June was 2020 during COVID, okay? What that means is that we're in January now as we head into, actually we're February 1st today, as we head into March, April, May, we're gonna see more homes flooding the market. And my prediction is we're gonna see more homes for sale than we've seen in the last few years. And the reason is we have a huge buildup of people that tried to sell their homes during 2022. They got FOMO because they saw their neighbors selling for a record price. Then they didn't get that price, so they pulled it off the market. They've been waiting. They're thinking maybe this spring is gonna be the new time to list their home again. And what's gonna happen is I think we're gonna see more homes on the market than we've seen in a minute. Here's a true story of a phone call that I had just the other day. One of my clients called me and said,
Jake, I need you to come by my place. My mortgage payments
were $2,900 a month on my $800,000 mortgage. Today, my mortgage payment, just a year and a bit later, is $5,000 a month. Now, they're on a variable rate like tons of other Canadians. And I want you to think about the implication that if interest rates do remain where they are, because remember, we are at 6% inflation, we gotta get all the way down to 2% inflation. The Bank of Canada is not gonna race to start lowering interest rates just to try and allow inflation to still run away crazy. So my thoughts are we're gonna have more homes on the market than we've seen in a minute. I think that interest rates are gonna stay right where they are for a little while. I think that there's gonna be people who are forced to sell. That's gonna add more and more pressure of homes on the market. I think it's gonna pull down prices a little bit further. And while all this is just my prediction, it's my thoughts, it's me making some educated guesses around the data that I have, it's very contrary to maybe some of the advice you're hearing. Now, here's the other thing I want you to remember. I might sound like a bit of a bad guy for saying this, but let's be honest. People have confirmation bias, and I'm not immune to it. We all have confirmation bias. The only time that realtors, brokers, anybody in my industry gets paid is when there's lots of transactions. And in order for there to be a lot of transactions, people have to have confidence that the market is going upward. Now, I actually am a little bit opportunistic in some ways about my thinking regarding when to sell and buy. I just sold my home right now in this downtrending market, and I'm waiting to buy a little bit because I know that right now, if you can do a really good job of selling your home, which is exactly what we did. I set a neighborhood record right now in my neighborhood with my home sale. I share this because if you can sell for a lot of money right now, you can go out and buy homes for big discounts. There's people that need to sell and you're not taking advantage of them. You're doing them a favor when you're buying their home, because guess what? Nobody else is buying their home, or they're buying their home with a condition of a property sale and their house never gets picked up. So guys, this is a really big deep dive in this video into my predictions around the market. We've got videos like bank announcements that you can go check out where we dive really deep into here's all the data, here's the graphs, here's the charts of interest rates, home sales over time, here's what you need to know. But that's my prediction. So heading into May of this year, I believe prices will come down another 4 or 5%, potentially more depending on just how many motivated sellers we have. I believe there's gonna be a huge influx of homes hitting the market for sale, and I don't think interest rates are going anywhere for a while. Now, if that's bad news to you, pick up the phone, give me a call. I get it, I understand, but listen, you don't want someone to tell you just what you want to hear to make you feel better. What you need right now is someone to tell you the truth, to advise you how to navigate it so that you're not making huge financial decisions on wishful thinking. We've seen crises in the past, whether it's the 2008 financial crisis, whether it's the 2017 house market bubble. We see these little moments where we have crises, and what people look to do is they want to feel better instantly. So they'll take advice that sounds like the right advice because it's what makes them happy, and they make bad financial decisions. Don't be fooled by your bias. Get opinions, get a second, third, fourth opinion, and talk to people outside of just this industry, and I guarantee you're gonna hear a wide spectrum of opinions. Pick up the phone, give me a call. If you like this video, drop a comment below. We love hanging with you guys, and I'm wishing you nothing but success and a very prosperous 2023, despite what the market might tell you. Cheers, guys.